good afternoon, Lina and Lisa. Try again.
Allora, salve a tutti, e tutti gli ascoltatori che sono lieti ad ascoltare questo programma. È il programma con Antonio Dottore e con il CoAsIt SA.
And hi, Lisa. If you're going to have your pappagallo come through flying in, your cockatoo again.
Did you see him? He just came and went.
Okay, no, I saw him last time. So, yes. Okay, so we're awaiting the big changes in the aged care system. So coming in principle in November. So that's it's only a few days away. But do we have any particular topics we would like to talk about that are relevant to people who are aging? And God knows what we mean by aging. We keep on trying to define that differently as we get older.
Yeah, well, we do have a topic that I thought might be interesting to talk about this time, and it's advanced care directives. Now, this is particularly important for the aging population, but it's equally as important for younger people. So this is actually relevant to any age group.
Okay, so advanced care directives. First, let's explain what that means. Then you can tell us why it's relevant both to older and younger people.
Well, an advanced care directive.
No, I was just going to say, è un trattamento, è un dichiarazione anticipato del trattamento per assicurare che i nostri diritti saranno seguiti.
Sì.
Vero, Antonio?
Nel campo della sanità,
sì?
della salute. Okay, Lisa.
Nel campo della sanità, sì.
Yeah.
So, sorry, Lisa.
Yes. Give us a quick outline of what an advanced care directive is then.
Okay, well, it's not a will, but it could be seen as a living will. So it's a formal version of you planning in advance for a time when maybe you don't have capacity, but you need care, but you don't have the wherewithal to say about the care that you want. So you think about it in advance, and you are able to put that down as a decision for your future.
So like, yes, you said, so you might not be able to make decisions. So for example, well, I give my situation. My mother has dementia and she doesn't talk, basically. She might say a few words every few days. When the ambulance comes to see her, they're going to take her to the hospital, they always ask this question: what do we do if your heart stops beating? Do we put you into resuscitation? And clearly Mum could not answer. So an advanced care directive could have been something that she could have organised in the past. I remember, okay, I'm taking this a bit for the longer ways, but I remember on one occasion when a doctor had asked her what she wanted. She said, yes, resuscitate me. And she was quite clear, quite adamant about it. But then she was, her mind was fine and she was much healthier than she is now. Who knows?
Well, and that's the thing with advanced care directives. First of all, it must be done when you have capacity. Sorry, we have a friend. It must be done when you have capacity. So once your capacity is going, you're unable to make that advanced care directive.
That's
the other thing is,
yes.
The other thing is that when you have good capacity, you make decisions with that sort of like grounded ability to go, well, in the future, I would want to be resuscitated, whether we can say or not, or I wouldn't want to be resuscitated. So rather than having somebody in the room who is a relative who loves you and just wants the best for you and says, we don't care, we want her to be resuscitated, you have the ability to have that in a written format, made official, so that nobody can supersede what you want. You can also, you see, nominate somebody called a substitute decision maker. So that's somebody who can make the decisions on your behalf when you don't have capacity. And the point of doing it in advance is, as I just said, you want the person who understands what you want and will make that decision that you would make, not a person who understands what you want, but makes the decision based on how they feel.
Yes, and this could go either way. As I was saying, on that occasion when the doctor asked her, Mum said, yes, absolutely, do resuscitate. And she was quite adamant, very clear, strong. And there might be other times when the person says at a certain stage, no. Because, I mean, the doctors or the ambulance have explained to us a couple of times, when we do this, we actually break their bones in their chest. And that's, at a certain stage, it's just very, very difficult to recover, pretty much impossible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you have a capacity, and you're thinking about an advanced care directives, and at the end, I will tell you where you can look for toolkits, and workshops, because it's not as simple as just saying, well, today I want resuscitation. It's about thinking in advance and thinking, well, at what point is there a point where I feel I wouldn't want resuscitation? Because that's what you're writing down. You can write down, well, you know, if I have capacity, I'll make my own decisions. And once I don't have capacity, actually, I want a different decision.
Yeah.
And you can write those things down, can't you, Lisa?
Yes, so the advanced care
You could
directive
write that
is
down.
a written,
Yeah.
you write everything in there. You also get a chance to think about things like your values. So for example, if you want to stay home regardless, then you are able to say, when I don't have capacity, I still want to stay home and I want things put in place to help me stay at home. And there's something called a dignity of risk, which means that regardless to what everybody thinks or what the government think, you have the right to decide what you want, no matter what. So if your choice is to always stay at home, no matter what, that has to be respected if it's in a formal document, which is why it's really important to think about these things in advance.
And how does one write a thing like that? I'm guessing it must be difficult if you wanted to
Okay,
start
well, there's
writing.
actually, there are lots of the local councils run workshops, and the workshop is not for you to write it. The workshop is for you to go along to help you consider all the questions that they have. So there's lots of people in there, all talking about their different points of view, all thinking about the questions. So the formal document has lots of different questions for you to answer. There's also kits available that will go through all the questions and then give you some explanations and things to think about. And you can get the kit physically from Services SA. You can go to SA Health website and get it there. And there's also Advanced Planning Australia. The thing about going to the SA website, or if you go to advanced planning, put in an SA, is that each state and territory has a slightly different version.
Oh.
And they have slightly different emphasis on how important it is. In South Australia, it's quite important because they absolutely, for your medical treatment, will rely on your advanced care directive. And what I was just going to
Lisa,
add.
no, go ahead,
No,
sorry.
After you.
No, I was just going to say, and you probably will want to do this, or want to say this, but how does that interact with the power of attorney when someone has got care for you, and often they assume that right that they can override anything because they're looking after you. How does that work?
Well, in South Australia, the Advanced Care Directive has superseded medical power of attorney. Now, that is different from enduring power of attorney, because of course they're different. There's medical, there's financial, and an enduring power of attorney is something that you can have and nominate your person. But what that means is while you have capacity, it's not in effect. Or you can bring it into effect. Say you were to go overseas and not able to make decisions for things happening when you're at home with your finances, the person can step in for that. And then they can also step in when you no longer have capacity. And that then is slightly different from general power of attorney, which once you don't have capacity, stops. So when you're looking at all these different things, there are a number of options for you to consider. But the Advanced Care Directive is something you should be thinking about all through your life. So writing it down and changing it as you want. You don't have to write one when you're 18 and then it still has to apply when you're 65. You can keep changing them as you want. The other thing that I was going to say is because it's not only about staying at home or planning for medical crises, you get to think about, say, you are okay with going into a facility and you have a dog. And part of the thing that you really want is that you can't go anywhere where a dog isn't allowed. So you can put that into it as something that is one of your values that has to be considered, because these are things that when you're older and things are changing, that people don't hear so much. It's not that they're not listening, is that, but they're so worrying about how you're going to be or what's going to happen. They don't think of the minutiae that you get the chance to think about today and write it down so everybody knows. And you've chosen the right person to do that for you. I was very sick a while ago, and I had certain things that I wanted and I didn't want. And I have multiple children and a lovely husband, and some of them wanted one thing for me that I didn't want. So I maybe would have put my oldest child as the person to represent me, but I now know that it's not that person. It's a different member of my family who was the one who stood next to me and said, back away, she's not going to have that. So that's why you need to think seriously about these things. And if I hadn't had capacity, I've got no doubt that the louder members of the family and their voices would have been heard over the voice who was really saying what I wanted.
Okay. Now, from what you were saying, I guess you don't need to go to a lawyer to write this thing, to write the form.
No.
You can get help from your local councils. What about some of the aged care providers, people who offer daycare programs or packages?
Look, I know that when you have, say, Commonwealth Home Support Program as we run, lots of personal care, they will mention it to you, but they won't necessarily give you advice on what to do. And the whole point of going to workshop is you don't need advice, you just need to think about what you want. It's difficult. It's always difficult to get advice. So providers don't often sit and do it with you because that's not their role. I can't say never because I don't know all of the providers, but I know that that's not their role, which is why you go to independent workshops or you go to Services SA and get the kit where all the stuff is written for you. There are plenty of websites that will help you. But if you don't go on websites, you can walk into Services SA and get the kit in person.
Yeah.
And
Lisa, I think also doctors also have it as well. The doctors also have a copy of the sorts of questions and the enduring power of attorney or advanced care directive. They've got sometimes, well, we got them from the doctor who had it there readily to give to us. In this case, it was really good
blank
because
form, you mean?
Yes, a blank form, yes. But it also had a section with all It is quite involved. It has very, very explicit questions. And it just takes quite a while to go through it because it puts up lots of circumstances and different options that you might choose depending on the situation that they have identified. It's quite involved, but it does help too. I think particularly with our clients in our Italian community who would have some trust, perhaps, if the doctor does say, look, this might be a good thing to do for you when you may not be able to do it for one reason or another. Because you would agree, Antonio, that it's a little bit challenging bringing these things up with our community.
Yes, indeed. And I can tell you, I remember when even we, the sons, were asked these questions from the ambulance people when either my father or my mother had to go to hospital. It's difficult. And while when it's okay, when they're okay and they say, yes, please do resuscitate them. But then when it gets borderline, yeah. And then
difficult if members of your family don't agree at the time.
Yes.
That's it.
So let's say, so we've put this thing into a document, a piece of paper. How is anyone going to know? Where does it?
Well, once you've written the document, you do have to get it signed by a justice of the peace, and where they'll go through and make sure that it's everything you want, and it will be signed off. And once it's signed off, you can give a copy to your GP, you give a copy to the person who is your decision maker, you give a copies to your family, and you put a copy on your fridge. So I know that, especially for ambulance drivers, they will say, as an older person, have they got an advanced care directive? And the last thing you want is a member of the family going, oh my God, it's in a drawer somewhere. It's not easily accessible. So I would recommend over 65, put it on your fridge and tell everybody that's where it is.
That's getting awfully close, that number. Yes.
I'll be pinning it up everywhere, over my bed. Lying now, after my experience, you're like, everybody needs to know everywhere there it is.
Okay.
That's good advice. It's a touchy topic, but it's a necessary one.
And now we've made a distinction between that and enduring power of attorney. But enduring power of attorney is a much broader document, yeah? Can be much broader.
That's right. And we'll go with finances and other decisions that are maybe more in that not social area. I think finances is a big one when you don't have capacity for sure.
Now that's the question I was going to ask you earlier. You were talking about, you keep on using this word capacity, have capacity, not have capacity. How do we know? Who decides someone's got capacity or not?
Well, the doctor usually does. And they have all these tests that they do. That's one way of identifying. I know they do these amazing tests. Some of them, I must say, are not culturally sensitive or appropriate for some of our Italian community, but I know that's what they do. I don't know if there's other methods, Lisa, that you know of to define that.
If you were admitted to hospital or you come across any, form of needing medical help, if you can answer questions, you have capacity. So if somebody can ask you a question and you can answer saying, yes, I want that, or no, I don't want that, you have capacity. For someone with dementia, those kinds of questions are not answerable. And if they were able to answer it, I think that would go above everything else. So it comes down to simple common sense, I think, when it comes to that. And obviously, when you have got signs of dementia and you go along to the doctor and you get diagnosed, they already say that you don't really have capacity. Although at those beginning times, you can write an advanced care directive. But I actually think needs permission from the, you need a letter from the GP that says you still have capacity. That might not be super accurate information, caveat, but I do think that that is how it works.
So certainly if, I know some people, some friends have early signs of dementia or Alzheimer's, but they're still functioning properly, maybe it's still okay. That's starting to get a bit late, but it's
yes, but once they've got a diagnosis of dementia, I think they liaise with their GP then about doing, having capacity for the advanced care directive. That's why it's really important to be thinking about it all through your life, because, well, the truth is you can be 20 years old and knocked over by a bus in a crack or any number of things, which means you don't have capacity, but that didn't mean you didn't have thoughts about how you'd want your care to go.
Exactly. No, it's good. It's good. It's something that we need to encourage our community to think seriously about, and to support families to go to the right places to get support, like you said. Yes.
Yeah, look, even if it's not, the biggest thing that I think is sometimes that you don't do one because you don't want to offend your family. People are going to think different, and you don't want your oldest child to be the person who says it. And that's the great thing about having councils run workshops, that you can go to your local council and they will tell you where there are workshops, so you can go along and find out about it without having to rely on your family. And you can give them the completed document, no arguments. This is how it is. So
that's a very good strategy.
I mean, that can be quite important in communities, especially more core communities where families are more important than they might be in sort of other Australian families.
Okay.
Sometimes families are always important, but there are times where families have got rules that are hard to negotiate.
Yes.
And perceptions and expectations.
I'm talking from my own personal experience of how difficult families are to negotiate.
Yeah. And this concept of dignity of risk is important. I came across it the first time when I was on a disability board. And sometimes families don't want to take any risks, either with the person with a disability or the older person, but then their life is maybe excessively restricted. And it's a difficult one to navigate. So I'll say thank you very much to Lisa and Lena for having brought up this topic, and Lisa having reminded me that I'm very close to the age where I absolutely should get one done. Yes. Well, my personal experience, my father passed away a few months ago, and Mum is very, very sick. And so we're seeing the effect of this. It is an important topic. So thank you for CoAsIt for bringing this up and helping us discuss it with our listeners.
Yeah, thank you for hosting us.
Lena?
Tom, I was going to say we've got 1 minute to remind our community that it is Cancer Awareness Month.
Oh,
this month.
Yes.
And one of yes, and I'd like to bring up the fact that CoAsIt SA has actually partnered with Breastscreen SA, and we actually have a launch coming up at the Fullerton Park Community Centre. You are invited if you would like to come, Antonio, on the 29th of October, Wednesday the 29th of October at 5:15 for a 5:30 start. The important thing about this is that Breastscreen SA have identified that the Italian community, a lot of cold communities in general, but particularly the Italian community, the women in our community are reluctant to go and have these screenings done on a regular basis. And we'll be launching, Elena Castricchini will be talking about her experiences, and also launching a video that hopefully will be able to support women to understand the importance of these screenings, and also support them to go and get their screening done on a regular basis. But
So
if we can
Wednesday the
encourage
29th.
women to have that, it would be
Wednesday
wonderful.
the 29th of October. Okay,
Yeah.
the Fullerton Centre. Very, very good.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you again, Lena and
Thank
Lisa.
you.
And we'll have another chat soon.